Even the worst plants in Plants vs. Zombies 2 are capable of scraping by simply due to how cheap the majority of them are. But what's more difficult to manage, and in a way worse than a bad plant? An expensive one. If you cannot afford to build your defenses, you have no way of stopping the oncoming horde of zombies. Most rounds of PvZ2 you will only get a couple of costly plants out amongst the rest of your team. But that left me wondering, what if your arsenal solely consisted of expensive plants? What if you could barely afford your first attacker by the time you start to lose your lawnmowers? Would the game even be possible to beat that way? And which plants would be part of your 1%er army? Well, I'm about ready to find all that out. Let's see if we can beat Plants vs. Zombies 2 using only the most expensive plants in the game. If you see my video using only bad plants, this will be a very similar structure. We will be covering the entire game in this video, adding a couple plants to our team as we go from world to world. However, the list of plants we can use isn't subjective this time. Every plant on our team is at a minimum of 250 sun. And in case you're wondering, the most expensive sun producer costs 125 sun, meaning we have no sun producers. I cannot fathom how we'll beat the Dark Ages, but we'll get there when we get there. Without further ado, let's find out if it is even possible to afford these terribly overpriced plants, or if I will rage and crash out so hard I'll put on a pea shooter costume and do a little dance. One of the most fun experiences of beating the game with only bad plants last time was slowly falling in love with the plant I'd previously hated, the Scaredy Shroom. He became my main attacker, and I'm not sure I could have beat the challenge without him. I famously hated another plant that just so happens to be known for his expensiveness, so let's see if we can learn to love him too. Please welcome the Ultomato. Now, without context, Ultomato is as cheap as he can get to be allowed on our list, just 250 sun. That's not so bad, right? I guess, unless you want to plant another one, cough up 50 extra sun then. That's right, every time you place another Ultomato, it will cost 50 sun more. And here's the kicker, each one can be evolved 3 times. To get a fully ripe Ultomato, it will cost you 900 sun, and 5 would cost you 9,000 sun. I can guarantee you, without sun producers, that will not happen. The upside is Ultomato is very strong, shooting a beam out every few seconds, usually defending itself perfectly fine. But if you use its plant food, Ultomato just combusts, and that 900 sun you spent just went down the drain. Great! As you can see, on day 1, I only got a couple Ultomatos out and lost a bunch of lawnmowers, and thankfully, it is impossible to even lose because the lawnmowers respawn. I am immediately regretting my life decisions. On day 3, we get some free sunflowers, and I will gladly give them a try. We can nearly afford a tomato on each row, and here's where I already discovered something huge. Digging up Ultomatos restores them to their old cost and gives you sun to replant them. I might not have enough sun to keep them around, but I can dig them up and make new ones. A very exciting development for sure. Like I said, we'll see if we can learn to love the guy, but it's not going to be easy. Let's add a couple plants to start out. I'd like to have some variety in my strategies if possible. Tied for the most expensive plant in the game, let's give a cold welcome to the Mistletoe. How much does she cost, you ask? Not much, just a 500 sun. Thankfully, level 7 starts us out at that much, so it's a perfect chance to give her a try. She takes a while to charge before letting you tap wherever you want her to launch the missile. It's a devastating strike that even slows down nearby zombies. It's hard to deny it will be helpful if I can ever afford it in the first place. And unlike Ultomato, she doesn't combust from plant food. It is just random though, which does suck. In level 8, I had no chance of affording Mistletoe, so I was back to digging up the 2 Ultomatos I could afford to juggle them around the stage. Notice here that Ultomato targets zombies behind gravestones too. That is certainly a helpful skill. Ended up just sacrificing them with my plant food to protect my lawnmowers. On day 9, I decided to try letting the lawnmower go so I could afford a Mistletoe again, which turns out is not the best idea. She takes a very long time to recharge, so she's unable to fight the entire lawn. She nearly got burned alive because I assumed she'd be able to attack in time. Even with 2 here to defend me, it's just not enough. She cannot be my main attacker, and I've been struggling to get many Ultomatos going. So let's get one more plant in to start our team, another moderately affordable one. Next up is going to be the Homing Thistle. I'm okay trying this one early on because I doubt I'll end up using it very often. It's affordable, I guess, coming in at our lowest price option, 250 sun, but I don't think it's even worth that price. Basically, it'll shoot the zombie closest to your home no matter where you have it on the lawn. You can see the problem with this right here. 2 zombies are on completely different sides of the stage, but it keeps flip-flopping on which one to target. The cone zombie was pretty close to making it to the end because of this. Hey, at least the plant food is the most helpful we've seen yet though. My plan for the rest of ancient Egypt is to bring in a couple homing thistles and an ultomato if I can afford it, and just see if that's a viable strategy for future, more difficult stages. The method of stalling, purposely not killing zombies so you can earn more sun, is impossible with homing thistle. You will start up rounds so quickly by hitting every single zombie it sees, so it might not last on my roster for too long. Still, from my experience through the next couple levels, it seemed to me that homing thistle is going to be a great early attacker. He helps defend for a while so I don't just instantly lose all my lawnmowers. And all my plants so far don't even see gravestones, they might as well not exist. Also, I can't lie, it's kind of fun ending rounds with Ultomato's plant food. I think I underestimated how helpful that might end up being. Like on day 15 where we finally had some sun to work with thanks to the endangered sunflowers. But my homing thistle was way too weak to beat a sarcophagus zombie. Had that Ultomato fully evolved, but he had to be sacrificed for the greater good. The game basically mocked me on level 17, thinking I could afford 14 plants. It's funny that I can only bring out one of each of my plants in most rounds, which is actually kind of a fun challenge idea. You can only have one of each plant on a stage at a time. Fun idea, right? Finally, a plan your defenses level. I have a feeling these will be the best for my roster. What should we do? 4 mistletoes? 5 tomatoes? I opted for a little mix of everything, although I bet 5 tomatoes would have worked completely fine. Without one in the middle row, they almost got eaten. But otherwise, it went great, of course. I have a few more gimmicks for this challenge up my sleeve, but we'll get to that in the Pirate Seas, because ancient Egypt is already over. I only had close calls when my plants would get eaten, which is especially brutal for this particular video, but even then the lawnmowers could handle the rest. Our first and only Gargantuar survived 1 Ultomato explosion but was not ready for 2. I don't think anyone expected me to face any real challenge here. Ancient Egypt is baby easy, but already I think it's obvious the problems we will begin to face. These waves of zombies are so small, especially in the contrast to what we will be seeing very shortly. But anyways, we are now at the Pirate Seas, which means it's time to add some plants to our roster. They won't always be themed to the world, but sometimes it just so happens that the Pirate Seas is the birthplace of the one and only Coconut Cannon. He's definitely on the pricier side at 400 sun, but coconut cannons are powerful enough to deserve such a high price. Just like mistletoe, you control when to fire each cannon, once it's recharged of course. The goal is to aim for clumps of zombies, not waste a shot on a measly brown coat. Let's also immediately add our second Pirate Seas plant to the team, who also originates from this world, the Three-Peater. I'm curious how often I'll bring in this one, to be honest. It costs 300 sun, just a little more than homing thistle, but isn't as versatile of a plant. Three-Peater, of course, shoots 3 peas in its adjacent lanes, covering a lot of ground but unable to cover the entire lawn on its own. Still, it'll be more effective than homing thistle in the long run, and I'm hoping to find a reason to use it as we play. I've been trying a myriad of different plant combinations through these levels. Keep in mind I can only get like 4 plants per round, so my options are limited. But I'm seeing how mistletoe combines with Three-Peater, which plants are needed round to round, and what can get left out. Ultomato is easily the strongest, but can only target a single lane, which is why I need stuff like homing thistle. But in day 6, for example, that one lane I had an Ultomato in was consistently in danger and would easily have lost its lawnmower without their help. And nowadays I start basically every round by losing the first lawnmower so I can actually get some sun. And playing the Coconut Cannon bonus stage was a very stress-free little break between rounds where I got to experience having 5 plants on stage at the same time. Whoever could afford these things must be loaded. So far, once more, things have been smooth sailing. Imp cannons were worrying, but mistletoe can wipe them out in one hit. Sometimes I get cocky and lose a lawnmower or two, but so far I bested every zombie onslaught. Definitely don't put any subtle foreshadowing of my impending doom on screen. Oh, and also we made it to day 13, where we're supposed to produce sun, and I highly doubt Ultomato is about to squeeze some sun out anytime soon. So, you cannot beat Plants vs. Zombies 2 only using the most expensive plants. Oh well, thanks for watching! Alright, we're not just gonna quit. There's gotta be a fun way to make this challenge possible. So let's introduce our little gimmick for sun requirement levels, and the original idea I had for it. I had planned to give myself the most expensive sun producer as a permanent part of my team, but it's just twin sunflower at a measly 125 sun. That would make this challenge incredibly easy and boring, so I thought of a new way to get sun producers in here. If you watched my last challenge, you may recognize this bench, filled with helpful world plants in case I ever face an unbeatable level. The point of the bench plants is we do not want to use them, which I don't think a lot of people understood last time. We want that bench warmed, people. I am ashamed if one of these plants is brought into a level. And that is true more than ever for our bench plants this time around. We'll be consisting solely of sun-producing plants. It goes from least helpful to most helpful, only being revealed as we need them. And obviously, day 13 needs someone, so here they are. The least helpful sun producer, you all love her, you all hate her, you all love to hate her, the Sundew Tangler. That's right, I just can't stop torturing myself. We found out just how horrible she is already, but just as a refresher, she only produces sun by draining zombies' health, and even then it is a sad and pitiful amount of sun. I have no doubt she's the least effective sun producer in the game. I love her for being able to block fisherman zombies or infinitely stall football mechs, but right now all I need is sun, and she doesn't have it. Beating all these sun requirement levels with Sundew alone is impossible. We already proved that last time. So we're going to move right up the list and add the Shine Vine in too. I've literally never used this plant before, but I think it'll be fun to try with this challenge in mind. Shine Vine is great for boosting sun producers, but with our plant, it's basically a normal sunflower that costs 25 extra sun. It also stuns zombies who try to eat it, giving you little baby suns in the process. Again, this ain't a bad plant. I'm just aiming to mix things up while not making these levels overly easy. I'll never understand why the Pirate Seas has so many of these levels, by the way. Day 13, 19, 20, and 21 all have sun requirements. I beat the first one with Sundew only just to give myself a refresher. Then I made sure to give the Shine Vine some time to, well, you know, shine. Day 19 might have been a bad choice though. Trample the Flower stages are the scariest for this challenge, especially after the nightmare that is day 30 of modern day. I still have nightmares about that stage. Day 19 only has one wave, so I need to produce sun fast, and kill the zombies at a decent pace or this happens. Even though I lost, I think I was really onto something. A single homing thistle can probably defend the entire lawn, as long as I use Shine Vines to sell zombies and earn sun from them. Originally, I thought I'd just try planting the Shine Vines on our other plants, but this level proves I have no choice. I gotta spam Shine Vines throughout the stage if I want a chance to earn enough sun here. Thank God the recharge time on this thing is so dang short. This is a rare level where I can earn plenty of sun to plant all my expensive attackers, but I don't want to because I need the round to last long enough to earn my sun. I don't know, I really like that concept for this challenge, and I'm kinda sad there aren't many levels like that in this game. Day 20 was similar, but is way easier. I was just messing around. I was super curious what happens if you play a Shine Vine on the Sundew Tangler. Big shocker, it's completely useless, but I was dying to know. But yeah, I won prematurely, just short of the sun requirement, so I had to go back in and try again. But my general strategy was to drain my allotted 50 sun with Sundew right out the gate, then spam Shine Vines throughout the stage. Day 21 was basically the same, forcing me to stall out towards the end of the level to catch up on sun before those last zombies either died or ate my brains. I really like combining these two plants. It has nothing to do with using only expensive plants, but blame the creators of the game for not making inexpensive sun producers. Not my fault, dude. We also have other gimmicks towards the end of Pirate Seas. Day 14 has you plan your defenses, which was great until a parrot stole one of my ultimatos. Not cool, dude. Day 15 has flowers to trample, but gives us a free 3-peater. I'll take it. I brought in a very random assortment of plants and nearly got overwhelmed because of it, but we stayed strong. But finally, protecting the spring beans on day 16, I lost my first real level. It begins. It's tough. These two middle lanes have a constant stream of zombies coming in while pirates swing down from the sides, forcing you to give them some attention. Ultomatos could defend the middle lane fine, but affording them is the problem. I thought a 3-peater might be good. I was wrong. I forced myself to calm down and take it slow for a bit. If I let the spring beans do all the work for the first round of zombies, I'd earn over 600 sun and can afford 2 3-peaters. There were some close calls, but as long as you spend your plant food on the spring beans, everything should go fine. It's not like this last imp is gonna ruin my entire run. I guess we'll play it one more time and be more smart about it, and we can secure our victory. It took a while, but we finally found a level that takes some extra precision. I'm excited to see what other tricky levels we'll need to overcome next. Day 22 lets us plan our defenses, so I made a fun little triangle of destruction, which actually was destined to fail, but thankfully the cannons have some incredible plant food power. Day 23 has some flowers in the middle of the stage, so I thought some homing thistles could do the job, but no. They were incapable of killing 8 zombies in 10 seconds. You guys suck actual balls! And day 24 is just day 16 again, protecting some spring beans who love to get eaten by the weakest of zombies. And finally, we are through with the piracies. I had so much to say about this world, so let's move on right away. I don't want to see a pirate or a sea ever again. We've made it to the Wild West, which gives us the mine carts, aka the best level gimmick for our particular challenge. A single Ultomato is all you need sometimes. And just like before, we have a world plant that costs so much it belongs on our list. That is of course, the melon pult. These things are so good, dude. The melons do splash damage, they fire at such a speedy rate it feels unfair to use them in most scenarios, which is why they cost 325 sun. Honestly, that's not expensive enough. I will absolutely be using them through the entire world. On day 9, we don't get to choose our plants, but they give us Winter-melon, who may or may not be joining our team at some point in the future. I decided to see it was possible to beat this stage only using our only option at 500 sun, and of course it is. We had to lose a lawnmower or two, but the only real difficulty of the Wild West so far is the Poncho Zombie. He can withstand multiple hits from the strongest of my attackers. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to discuss through the first 8 days of this world. They've all got minecarts, so as long as I have a single Ultomato, chances are I'm not going to face any issues. It's not even adding to the difficulty to not use my plant food. I'm still decimating every stage. So going into day 10, I felt pretty much invincible. And then I remembered chicken zombies existed. I can't believe I actually forgot about them. And looking at the list of plants I have available to me, I don't see a single one that's going to be even remotely helpful for them. All of my plants are slow, big hitters, not ready to deal with the little critters we're tasked with fighting here. So for now, it seems like 3-peater is my only option, and I just have to hope and pray I can scrape by through these levels. I almost forgot, I haven't even introduced my second new plant of this world yet. I'm ready to try a new premium plant, the Maybe. I've never used this plant before, so I've been reading up on it and experimenting with it, and still I'm trying to grasp how to use this plant. Its attack is sending out bees, spreading out across the stage to attack multiple zombies at a time. They do a lot of damage, which is why they take a bit to recharge, but sometimes you just won't send them out. She'll sit there and dance for a few seconds and then randomly get angry and attack, and I've yet to understand why. Additionally, from what I've read, she can be used as a defensive plant. Zombies get stunned while trying to eat her, stalling them for a decent amount of time. I've tried them against the chickens, and it honestly didn't go too well. So I gotta keep experimenting and see how to use her to the best of her ability. Day 11 had a scary requirement I forgot existed: spend less than 500 sun. That means I can play 2 homing thistles or a single other plant, and I decided to go for melon pult since he's so new. Honestly, not a great choice, but we still cleared it with most lawnmowers remaining. We fought the bulls for the first time on day 13 and maybe stunned and killed one once, so that was pretty awesome. But otherwise it was a real hodgepodge of random plants, not my finest work. We caught up to some chickens once more in the next level, and maybe in a single Ultomato were not up to the challenge. I thought maybe I could get all the chickens with a single shot from Ultomato, but they take so long to shoot sometimes it just wasn't feasible. I tried getting 3-peater to beat it for me too, but was a little too overzealous and the chickens passed me once more. On my third try, I stalled for a bit to start so I could earn more sun, also opting for a homing thistle early on. I lost pretty much all my lawnmowers in one sweep of the chickens, but I wasn't about to lose that final wave. I had max plant foods and started spamming away, with a well-timed Ultomato kamikaze to just barely keep myself alive. It's a close call, but we can thankfully move on. Day 16 showed me that Maybe is weirdly horrible against the miner zombies. Apparently they've arched their back so perfectly that the bees just miss each sting. This is such a strange, weird interaction between a plant and zombie. Day 17 has some flowers to trample right down the middle, which is by far my biggest fear in terms of level challenges. Thankfully, however, we got a great look at Maybe's defensive capabilities. There were tons of close calls, with the bee or plant food barely making it in time, and I think this imp at the end was actually really close to losing me the round, but none of the Maybes got eaten. They really are my new and only defensive plant. I didn't think I was going to get any defense today, and I'm happy to be wrong. And day 18 is somehow my best dream and worst nightmare at the same time. I can plan my defenses against hordes of chickens. I thought I'd go all in on 3-peater, that's gotta be it. But those 2 outer lanes are dangerously unprotected. Well-timed plant food can save my skin, but I'm gonna run out and then it's just over. So let's plant some Ultomatos there and it should be all good, right? It seemed like it. Chickens would pile up on one before getting blasted just in time over and over, but sadly I lost that bottom row and couldn't keep myself alive on that final wave. I tried this strategy over and over again because even though I failed 5 or 6 times, I couldn't imagine another set of plants doing much better. And finally, with some real luck and better timing on the plant food, I managed to just barely scrape by. Seriously, my only goal is to protect the bottom row from one last chicken wrangler, and the 3-peater survived just long enough to do its duty. I had gotten pretty close each time, so I figured it could work, but I can't lie, I was pretty worried there for a second. Day 19 freaked me out with its less than 2 plant deaths warning, but guess what? No chicken wranglers? Then no freaking problem, bro. I got a mistletoe out on this one just to spice things up, man. Day 21 has those flowers so far up, it's stressful. I was managing things fine until this buckethead waltzed on screen. You made me lose, asshole! Who does that guy think he is? A simple retry was all it took. This level weirdly felt made for me, giving me what I need just in time with each zombie. The first few only spawn at the top. I earn just enough to place a maybe here. I get a plant food for this buckethead. I gotta thank the PvZ2 challenge gods for the luck I've received. Day 22 doesn't let us choose our plants, but Winter-melon is here again, so I gave it a go once more. But there's chickens, and Winter-melons cannot take on a single chicken wrangler. Screw the stupid PvZ2 challenge gods, what the hell? Cut me a damn break one time, dude. Well, challenge over. Thanks for watching. Day 23 is just plain horrible. Guys, this is not good. Chickens in a trample the flower stage is my nightmare blunt rotation. I am actually screwed. All I could afford up to this point was 2 3-peaters and an Ultomato, which is not enough to face multiple chicken hordes at once. Here's my thought process, right? Place a 3-peater on a minecart. That way I can use its plant food more effectively. So when those chickens started spawning, I used one plant food and another, and they still got me. Now I gotta get back there and pray those were the final chickens. But I think we both know that's not the case. I sat thinking about what I could do. I am 80% confident that the plants I'm using already are my best chance at beating this thing, and I have come up with a new Ultomato strat that literally only works in the Wild West. When it shoots its laser, you can quickly swipe up and down on the minecart, doing a little damage in every lane and wiping out the stupid chickens. But Ultomato fires so infrequently, it honestly hasn't helped as much as I thought it might. I played this stage over and over. A half an hour passed by and I hadn't even seen the final wave yet. It sucked not trying anything new, but I just can't imagine another setup working. Just to try it, I put 2 Ultomatos out. I didn't even make it past the first freaking chicken. But I had a second thought. Stick to what we know. Place the 3-peater on the first minecart, not the second. And do not hesitate to use plant food. It's how I've made it the furthest so far. And turn off 2 times speed, that's just stupid of me. So I did all those things. If I even saw one chicken, I was giving the 3-peater plant food, and would you look at that. This level is totally possible. Turns out I didn't need to overcomplicate things like getting the Ultomato to fly across the entire screen on the minecart. I didn't need my other plans. I knew what worked, and I just had to do it right. Day 24 is just more chickens and walnuts. We've covered the strategy for this extensively at this point, so let's wrap it up and finish the Wild West. It's crazy, I went from thinking it'd be the easiest world for this challenge to remembering that chickens existed and facing the hardest level we've dealt with so far. But I'm happy to be moving on to the Frostbite Caves. Let's add our next plant, shall we? In terms of the very few plants I have potentially getting frozen and becoming unusable, I decided it was probably time to bring in a fire-based plant. The only fire-based plant on the team, the meteor flower. It's as cheap as it gets, a nice $2.50. You'll love to see it. The name is an obvious pun on meteor shower, and it does just that. It's a crazy plant I often forget even exists. The meteors seem to usually target the closest zombies, which is really nice, and that way it's not too different from the homing thistle. We'll have to keep trying it and see how useful it can be. Already on day 4, they're sending out quite a few strong zombies. Meteor flower is fun and attacks pretty frequently, but not that hard of a hitter. And maybe coconut cannon just isn't the best choice for this world, I'm not sure yet. Day 6 only lets us choose 2 of our own plants, and I was curious to see how Ultomato and meteor flower might work together, and I kinda struggled a bit. We pulled through, but it wasn't pretty. A lot of my plants got eaten. And when the meteor flowers attack at the same time, they target the same zombie, sometimes wasting their shots. I'll have to try to offset their attack rate from now on. Maybe is a great plan. I really think she's going to help a lot. But in this world specifically, she's just getting frozen over and over. I might need to put her on hiatus for a bit. So let's get our next plant in to replace her. A fellow flower known by the name Boom Balloon Flower. Coming in at a fairly pricey 350 sun, this is probably one of the strangest plant concepts in the game, but a very good one at that. She can place balloon mines anywhere on stage as fast as she can inflate them. You can just place them right on zombies or build them up towards the back. Some temporary defense for your plants if needed. I have no idea how well she will do in the Frostbite Caves specifically, but I know she's a pretty good plant. I haven't used her much, so bear with me as I try out different ways of using her ability. So far, it seems like I could potentially beat the entirety of this world with the Boom Balloon and Meteor Flowers. And Boom Balloon is doing the majority of the work, let's be fair. I'm just using this other hack for their body heat. These levels are filled to the brim with zombies, and Boom Balloon just chips away at the whole crowd. Her plant food power is literally just Ultomatos, except she doesn't freaking die on activation. And it features a giant doom shroom, so it's a win-win really. Since the next level lets me plan my defenses, I wanted a fully hands-off approach. No tapping for me today. I just want to sit back and watch my team do its thing. And then we immediately went back to placing balloons every 2 seconds. What a juxtaposition. We're starting to see the tougher challenges again, with some trampable flowers and our first gargantuar. It all went great. I decided to end things with a big old doomshroom explosion. Meanwhile, this asshole just strolls across the finish line. Yippee! I get to do it all over again. Protecting these pepper pods actually had some really close calls, and I accidentally planted a 3-peater twice when I meant to plant another meteor flower. And my stupid friends won't stop texting me, shut the fuck up! Just for fun, I started experimenting with the melon pult or 3-peaters, but all other strategies were pretty much inferior as far as I could tell. Until finally, I faced a challenge I'd been waiting for that will not allow me to mess around: weasels. And there are so many of them too, Jesus Christ! I really wanted to just try the Boom Balloon out, see if they were potentially useful against my greatest threat in the game. I wasn't super hopeful, but hey, that wasn't so bad. Meteor Flower 2 is occasionally helpful, since that little lava patch it leaves behind can kill the weasels who run past it. Maybe there's nothing to worry about. Here we are protecting a bunch of charred guards. It's not pretty. I'm surprised they have any health left, but we're surviving. Let's just kill this last zombie, okay? Can someone attack it? Please? Please hurry. God dang it, dude. Why is this exact scenario happen on every endangered plant level now? It's been a while, but here's day 24. Produce 2,500 sun. And there's weasels. Now, if I remember correctly, if Sundew Tangler is the only plant to damage the Wranglers, the weasels won't even spawn. But I kinda screwed up placing the meteor flower. I was asking for it to ruin my dang strategy. I'm also not even sure about trying the shine vines, they might just get frozen. So I came in once more and confirmed 2 things. Yes, the shine vines absolutely get frozen within seconds. But more importantly, Sundew Tangler can drain the Weasel Wrangler's health without letting the weasel spawn. There was an accidental outbreak once, but thankfully it managed to contain it. I'm pretty sure the Sundew Tangler actually grabbed a weasel. I did not realize that could even happen. I also forgot it literally just doesn't get frozen for no reason. If you haven't seen my Only Bad Plants challenge and are unfamiliar with the myriad of insane hidden abilities this plant has, I promise you it is an entertaining video even if you are solely interested in just discovering the hidden talents of the Sundew Tangler. Anyways, after the final wave, it was clear I had a lot more sun to earn. I dug up all my attackers, started spamming shine vines everywhere, and did my best to hold back the last 2 zombies. Of course, they're in the only lane without a lawnmower. I had to get just one more drop of sun, 50 away from the goal. So as they were seconds from eating my brains, I blew up an Ultomato, and as they died, one of my shine vines earned me that final sun. How clutch! And then the round kept going, and I remembered these imps still existed. I guess that was a little more dramatic than I needed to be, but we did it, and we're on to the last 5 levels of Frostbite Caves. Which turned out to be only 3 levels because I can't choose my plants in the first and last one. I always forget, like 30% of Frostbite Caves is just conveyor belt stages. Anyways, on level 26 we get 2 free sun shrooms, and in exchange we're forced to deal with, you guessed it, the game-ending weasels. I lost pretty quickly right off the bat, so let's try again. I didn't intend for this to be my strategy, but I guess losing the right lawnmower at the right time can be one of your best defenses. At one point I sold 2 of my plants rather than letting them get eaten, but in hindsight I could have just triggered that lawnmower to save them instead. Well, whatever I did, it seems to have worked out, finishing a level which is a single lawnmower remaining. On the next level, we're protecting Rotobega with no weasels in sight. There were a couple Gargantuars though, whose imps kept trying to kill my Boom Balloon flower. I thought the Gargantuar here was my final threat, dying to the plant food ability, but in reality it was a sneaky hidden guy who just about ate my damn Rotobega. I was so close to losing right at the end like all my previous endangered plants levels, but I finally got through on one try. The final level was a nice, relaxing plan your defenses stage, which is a beautiful ending to the Frostbite Caves. We move forward to the Lost City. I don't need fire protection anymore, so I'm not sure how often we'll see Meteor Flower from here on out, especially now that we've got a brand new plant on our team, Strawburst. I don't have a reason to add them in Lost City specifically, I'm just ready to start bursting some straws, you feel me? It's a costly one, 400 sun isn't easy to come by. Once planted, it starts off as a Widow Queen baby, and slowly over time it ripens until you have a fully grown strawberry who's ready to burst. It actually doesn't do as much damage as you expect to single zombies, but it causes quite a splash. Groups of zombies are what it's best at destroying, so let's try it out for a bit as we traverse through this world. I've been racking my brain, and as far as I can remember, I don't think there are any big issues I'm going to come across in the Lost City. We're getting free sun tiles in pretty much every level. Who am I to complain? I can afford a plant in every single lane? This place is bougie. Still, since they expect you to have so much sun, that means zombie attacks are much quicker and deadlier. I placed a maybe towards the back, hoping the shovel zombie would push her forward to the front, and then died. She was my only defense for the entire first wave. This round wasn't going the greatest by the end, and then I remembered, oh yeah, Strawburst is yet another expensive plant that has a superior version of Ultomato's plant food. Crazy. I've noticed these expensive plants love to ignore the unique zombies' new attributes. Most of my attacks still hit the shovel zombies, like the bees and balloons and such, even Ultomato can shoot them. The same can be said for the parasols. You'd think meteors would bounce off of it, but nope. Some of the plants still get blocked, but it's pretty rare. So let's talk about day 12. My first challenge, produce a crap ton of sun. Now, theoretically, I humbly thought to myself, I don't need sun producers. There's a bunch of sun tiles here. I can do it myself. But with no real selling options in my arsenal, everything I own costs a fortune and hurts the zombies, I don't think we're gonna keep these zombies alive enough to earn nearly 5 times more sun. Can't say I didn't try. Let's break out my Sundew Shinevine strategy next. And now it's just incredibly easy. I don't know, I'm not enjoying the way I've been beating these sun levels. We'll move on for now, but I'll try something new from here on out. I tried that level again without sun producers just to see if it's possible, but I'm not even reaching halfway to the sun goal by the last wave. Doesn't seem like it can be done. Like I said, we move on for now and try something new next time. These backpack imps are pretty tough for me to manage, especially as the first zombie of a level. I thought Ultomato might be good, and it managed to hold its ground, but here's the problem. It targets the tent last. It'll hit zombies behind it, just letting an infinite stream of new zombies spawn in there. And to rub salt in the wound, I almost barely won, but instead, barely lost. So I gotta play it all over again. It seemed like it was going even worse somehow. The middle row had a real series of unfortunate events play out, but they showered me with so much plant food these homing thistles did the trick. I almost forgot, I gotta add in our next new plant. I barely even use the Strawburst, maybe that's why. Our next plant is the one and only Caulipower. I'm really surprised it only costs 250 sun. I thought it'd be way more expensive. Basically, it has the hypnotic power of the Hypnoshroom, but as its main attack. It takes a long time to recharge, as it should, or it'd be busted, but I'm pretty sure it can hypnotize any zombie. Maybe I'm wrong, but I guess we'll find out, right? For only 250 sun, I will definitely get more opportunities to try it. Now, there are 2 fatal problems with this plant. One, it recharges so slow that even when I can afford more, I can't place any. And 2, Caulipower chooses who to hypnotize, not you. Just whoever it pleases, whoever seems most interesting to them. But definitely never the zombie about to eat my freaking brains. You wouldn't want to hypnotize that one, would you? So it is a little frustrating to use this as a strategy, but I am determined to get some good use out of this thing, like on the next try. We should hypnotize that imp first, give him a little scare before we snag the other one too. What a fun little prank. I was milliseconds from a game over, dude. Day 25 went so much worse. I started out thinking Caulipower could handle things, ended with 0 plants, 0 sun, and 0 hopes and dreams. Instead, I made Boom Balloon my main attacker, still bringing Caulipower for fun. You gotta admit, it's a great feeling to hypnotize our Gargantuar. It was still a super rough round, but we pulled through this time. So, I might have stumbled upon an impossible stage here. We've got an onslaught right out the gate with a line of flowers they're eager to trample on. My maybe wasn't strong enough to hold down the 4, and if that doesn't work, am I screwed here? Meteor Flower isn't strong enough. An Ultomato kills the Parasol Lady, but obviously can't hit the other guy. I can try to earn enough sun back, but this guy seems to swing in at random distances. Sometimes I barely have time to do anything, and other times I'm close to having enough sun to keep trying. Caulipower though, there's some potential there. He just barely survives the Parasol zombie, and if that other guy spawns far enough back, maybe? And holy shit, that stupid loser spawned so far back this time, it actually worked. There's hope. I genuinely thought the challenge was over. Sadly, I did still lose. I was making some pretty dumb purchases, I won't lie. I'm gonna try again, get some maybes out here if possible. I think Homing Thistle is absolutely useless here. So retrying the stage means dealing with the randomness of Caulipower. I can only make it as far as it's willing to cooperate. They'll refuse to swipe away the nearest zombie with their plant food, their friend will get eaten alive and won't bother to help, and I swear to God, sometimes it even targets the swinging guy instead of the Parasol zombie. What a sick joke. But finally, after a round where I made it past that random intro, using maybes and a meteor flower, I managed to beat the level. I was truly worried for a moment. It's one thing to have a difficult stage, but not being able to even start a level is basically the scariest thing possible. What a crazy coincidence that 250 sun is just enough to plant a Caulipower, a plant I arbitrarily decided to add in this world to beat an otherwise impossible level. I am truly terrified of the future Trample the Flower stages, especially the one I struggled with last time in modern day. Well, we found our big challenge of the Lost City. I'm ready to wrap things up now. Day 25 only has 2 open seed slots, but features 3 of our challenge's plans. What a coincidence. So I decided to just try to beat the level with them. And it's honestly the easiest stage in this whole world. What a contrast to the previous level. There's so few zombies, a couple of 3-peaters defend the majority of the lawn. On day 26, I made sure to give Strawburst another chance. It's actually such a good plan, it just costs so much it's tough to justify sometimes. But man, it was clutch in this level. Over and over saving my skin and dealing the perfect amount of damage. What a great showcase of my newest 2 team members. I actually took quite a while to beat day 27, and the worst part is it's not even an interesting or fun level. It's just zombie spam that I keep failing to keep up with. Sometimes my plans just do stupid things too. Caulipower loves letting the zombies just eat your brains, it's their favorite thing to do. So screw the Caulipower, I thought, what haven't I used in a while? The Boom Balloon Flower, dude, of course. The stage went a lot better immediately, and even though I lost on my lawnmowers towards the end, a victory is a victory. Day 29 was more of the same, only with Gargantuars to ruin my day. I'll need more Caulipowers, I guess. Day 30 has these mold colonies, making it more difficult than I expected. These levels have quickly become, let's try to get lucky with Caulipower, and it's not fun, but thank God it's the final playable level of Lost City. I'm still going strong, but man, this challenge is looking less and less possible by the level. We're in the far future now, and I need to plan something other than Caulipower for a change. We've got another on-theme plant, the one and only Citron. These guys are very strong, but I wonder how much better they are compared to Ultomato. I can't really bring plants in like this most of the time because they focus on a single lane, and I need plants who can deal with every lane. I can confidently confirm, day 2 is not possible using only Citrons. But I'm sure we can get it into most rounds. It only costs 325 sun. So pretty much down the middle in terms of price. Alright, let's see what challenges await me in this new time period. I thought the sun bombs might be tough, but sun falls way more quickly in these stages. I can afford a whole row of Citrons. I'm eagerly awaiting the next sun bomb stage. Up through day 10, we slowly saw each new mech zombie. Got to try out different combinations of plant food team-ups from the power tiles, and with nothing too crazy ever happening, as most of the early stages go in each world. Level 11 lets me plan my defenses. I thought, why not try Citrons and Ultomatos? We'll place them on all the power tiles. Completely forgetting that meant I'd be sacrificing an Ultomato every time I wanted to use some plant food. We still won, but I gotta remember to avoid placing Ultomatos on power tiles. I love when I can just bring in whoever I want to. You gotta have Meteor Flower or Caulipower, and after that, I can get a Mistletoe or Coconut Cannon. Whatever I feel like experimenting with. But without a plant that can deal with the empty lanes, most of my plants would be unable to defend any of these levels. The football mech zombies finally appear, and I decide to try Boom Balloon Flower as my main attacker. It takes 3 or 4 balloons to kill them, and thankfully they can't just push them forward or something. That would have been pretty sad of a discovery. On day 14 I can only spend so much sun, and for some reason I thought that meant it was Melon Pult's time to shine. It wasn't, just for the record, and I'm thankful they gave me so many plant foods to save me from such a terrible mistake. We're entering day 15, we've got some endangered citrons, and thinking about ready to start incorporating our second new plant of the far future. Please welcome the tile turnip. Now hold on, I know what you're all thinking. That plant is free, are you brain dead? Whether I am or am not brain dead is really neither here nor there. And frankly, none of your damn business. But I understand your concerns. A free plant is certainly not expensive. But here's the thing. Tile turnip can create its own power tiles to share plant food between your plants, and only the first tile is free. And guess what? A single power tile is actually pointless. You need 2 to do something, and that will cost you 250 sun, then 500 sun, then 1000 sun, and it doubles from there. So basically, I'll never be able to afford more than 2. I honestly couldn't even afford it in this level. I don't have 250 sun to throw down the drain. I lost thanks to you, stupid tile turnip. Let's try him on day 16 instead. Oh, it's a conveyor belt stage? Fine, we'll try them on day 17. I can't pick my plants? Fine, day 18 then. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! Looks like they're gonna have to wait. We've got some sun producing to do. Now, I've been getting away with only Shine Vines and Sundew Tangler so far, but if you'll remember my last challenge video, I beat this stage solely with the help of Sundew Tangler's exploits. It was a beautiful, glorious discovery, but are we really just gonna do the same thing again? I'd rather try something new. Let's grab our next 2 bench sun producers, the Sunbeam and the Gold Leaf. In terms of going from worst to best, this is how I would rate the sun producers, especially for this challenge. Gold Leaf is pointless without plants to place them on, but here's what I'm thinking, right? There's some big boy mechs in this level. I could A, plant 3 sunbeams, use power tiles to boost them all up, and dish them out to the zombies, or B, just keep feeding sunbeams to the mechs over and over. This is something I neglected to do the last time because I didn't realize you could stack sunbeams on a single zombie. Thank you to the comments for telling me I could. Obviously, this is easier said than done. The beans take forever to recharge, and sometimes I got a bit overzealous and it made me lose the round. The recharge is so slow, I think it might be best to spend plant food solely on getting more sunbeams. Those mechs will drop plenty of sun if I just stuff them full of beans. Boom Balloon also has to be my attacker. She is the only plant that attacks any lane that you get to choose. Something like a homing thistle will kill the zombies way too quick. So after a couple tries of not really pulling anything off, I suddenly got my trademark Jimmy Neutron Brain Blast and started stockpiling the second lane full of sunbeams. If there's a cap to how many sunbeams you can multiply, I wanted to find out. I defended that lane and built it up until the mech came by, and as it ate the trail of beans, I left one last plant fooded one at the end to seal the deal. And with this one mech, we literally earned 2,500 sun. That's nearly half the goal from one zombie. If I knew the sunbeam was that powerful, I would have used it a lot more in my Only Bad Plants video. This level's a damn cakewalk with the sunbeam, but that's okay. I found a really cool strategy I never knew existed, and I hope it was a cool discovery for some of you too. Probably not as cool as the Sundew one from last time, but hey, we did something new. We're back to sun bombs on day 19, and I was hoping to have some fun with the strawburst, but I accidentally killed like all the strawbursts I ever planted. And besides, I need to get some damn tile turnips in here anyways. I'll admit, they're kind of pointless in far future. It features a bunch of power tiles already. But it feels at home here. It feels right to use it here, doesn't it? We got so much freaking sun, I had 4 tile turnips. The strawburst would send giant sentient exploding strawberries down by the bushel. Day 20, we had some maybes for defense, but no power tiles up front. Not to worry, we'll get some purple tiles going in no time. I definitely don't feel pressure to use this plant I just added at all. Day 21 requires more sun production, but I think I'll stick to my new strategy for the far future. How about per world, when we need some sun, we'll add our next 2 sun producers. Could be fun, right? This level was a lot harder with those disco zombies. If you can feed those things some beans, you are set. But it takes quite a few balloon mines to kill them and the hordes of disco zombies they spawn. I felt a little underprepared on that last wave, but we pulled through. Given the opportunity to afford a full line of strawbursts in this planar defensive stage was my dream, and Caulipower was on top of things. Almost every big mech was hypnotized. Let's not forget the real MVP, the single tile turnip I placed because I ran out of sun. Usually the final level of each world is a big, last all-out brawl, but I gotta say, that was incredibly easy. I was ready to put so many more plants down after getting the citrons out, but it was already over at that point. Far Future had some fun moments for sure, but it had to be one of the easiest worlds we've covered so far. Should we stay here a little longer? Yeah, let's just not move on to the next world, right? We don't have to move on, do we? Alright, no more stalling. We've made it to the world that kills every challenge run. Freaking Shagrod's cave couldn't even plant his nuts without adding in the sun nut. An Explodo nut costs 50 sun. My cheapest plant costs 5 times more. So the easy answer is no. Dark Ages can't be beaten with the most expensive plants in the game. Happy? But that's no fun. Let's figure out a way we can still play the Dark Ages without making our challenge completely meaningless. At this point, we have already covered 4 sun producers on our bench. Let's uncover the next 2 in this world, and per stage we're only allowed 1. And I'll try to switch it up, not just use the same one over and over. And of course, if it is at all possible to beat one without a sun producer, I will try my best. But considering there's no sun falling from the sky, and my cheapest plants cost 250 sun, yeah, I can't see that happening anytime soon. Our next sun producer is going to be the Sun Shroom. They're cheap, they're weak, and for a good while they make a pitiful amount of sun, so I doubt it'll be easy to get things going in these levels. And the first level just gives you the Sun Shroom, so it feels fitting. We're also going to add the good old classic Sunflower. Everyone after this point is way too good, or I simply can't afford them to start these rounds. I don't have the ability to use the Sundew Tangler for that same reason. And while I could try Sunbeam, let's be real, I'm pretty skeptical I'd earn enough of profit for that to even work. Anyways, the beginning of each level is rough. I'm losing lawnmowers, I'm losing the sunflowers I place. It's hard to balance trying to afford an attacker and buying more sunflowers, because I worry they'll just be eaten anyways. I clearly did a bad job though, as I lost this round. Night 2, people! But with another try, I learned where to place my sunflowers and who I need to bring in to survive the rest of the fight. Easy. Unfortunately, we can't afford the Shine Vine, who's going to be the toughest sun producer for these stages. It costs 75 sun to bring out and only makes 50 sun on its own. Sure, if it stuns a zombie, I can earn a little more, but then it dies and I'm fresh out of sun production. To be fair, Shine Vine is actually presenting a challenge here, and I'm not a quitter. There is a bit of randomness when the necromancy zombies spawn, but otherwise I can usually afford my first attacker after like 4 of my lawnmowers get hit. I started out trying to use Boom Balloon Flower, but I wasn't able to keep up with the zombie spam. Then I moved to Homing Thistle and Caulipower, but they're much too slow and Caulipower is super unreliable. So on my final try, I smartened up and combined both ideas, getting a Homing Thistle out first and a Boom Balloon as soon as I could. Then I could really keep up with the pace, with all my lawnmowers missing and even throw in a 3-peater at the end for funsies. On day 4, I've made a horrible discovery. Jesters are real and they can hurt you! Talking to the Homing Thistle, specifically. I knew 3-peaters wouldn't work, but I had no idea that thistles were a no-go. Let's replace them in my lineup with a Meteor Flower. And that was a mistake! Meteor Flower sucks grade A balls, dude! Coneheads are already too strong for them. I hate to keep relying on Boom Balloon Flower, but the others simply can't cut it in these levels. And when I try to throw someone like Melon Pull to Bone, turns out the Jesters even counter them too. Come on, even the cannons? Citrons too? Jesters are sucking the fun out of my whole team. It feels like it's been forever since we used the team captain Ultomato. Look, I can even afford to place a second tile turnip. What does Ultomato's plant food do again? Right. Hey, at least now we have the perfect amount of plant food to kamikaze all 5 of them. I got so caught up introducing the sun mechanics of this world I almost forgot to add our next plant. Since Dark Ages is such a small world and we've got enough on our plate with this sun stuff, we can just add 1 new plant this time, which makes her extra special, doesn't it? This plant is so on theme, it just felt right. We've got ourselves the Nightcap. 300 sun isn't easy to come by these days, but here's the best part. Nightcap is basically invincible. You don't have to worry about her getting eaten. It's always a good 300 sun investment. And she deals poison damage, which ignores armor and damages zombies over time. A huge help for the night zombies in particular. And she might brighten your eyes a little bit, but that's more of a side effect, honestly. In these levels, she'll have to be my supplemental second plant, because she only attacks in a single lane. We're back to using the Shine Vine, but what a level to choose. I can place them on our endangered puff shrooms who need plant food to stay alive, meaning more free sun for me, meaning more plants at my disposal, and even when the Jesters made it close enough to start attacking my puff shrooms, the bit of stun and defense the Shine Vine provides actually saved my run. On night 14, you are actually meant to bring in sunbeams, and while I'd like to try something new, they actually banned all the other sun producers. But if you take a quick look at the level here, the intended solution is to use Grave Busters to help build up your sun, and I'm technically not allowed to use the Grave Buster. Is that it then? Game over? Well, the game is helping us a little. The next 2 zombies that come out have plant food, so we can power up the single sunbeam we can afford to earn a decent chunk of sun. Like, enough to buy the most expensive plant on our team. And if you use the plant food on that guy, just watch those graves blow up in real time. I have never seen that much sun in my damn life! What a fun level. I went from shitting my pants thinking we reached an impossible stage to having an awesome time. It's crazy that melon pults don't work against jesters, but Strawburst does. Anyways, I spent 3 plant food trying to kill a single buckethead and still lost, so that was really cool! Let's not forget, Dark Ages is the shortest world in the game, and we're on to the final 3 levels. The first 2 are incredibly similar, so let's only go in depth on the second one, featuring everything from Night 16, but adding potions and gargantuars. The kings are here too, so we'll be facing a lot of knights. That means my goal is to get some nightcaps out here ASAP. And by ASAP, I mean asking for sun. Actually, I'm not asking, give me my damn sun! I managed to get 2 out really fast thanks to some plant food, but that's just not enough. I might have to start with Boom Balloon Flower and work my way towards some nightcaps. And that seemed to do the trick. In fact, I had too much sun I didn't even know what to do with. Sometimes playing challenges like this make me forget that vanilla PvZ is so unbelievably easy that if you just bring in a normal amount of sun producers, you can plant multiple 500 sun costing plants and literally never lose! And day 19 gives us free magnet shrooms, which I first thought would be easy, before actually playing the level and having it eaten within seconds. It's over, dude. On the last level of freaking Dark Ages. Even with my bench sun producers, I do not have time to earn sun. Why do I even try? Wait a minute. That zombie's got plant food. If I send out a lawnmower to collect it, bring in Sunbeam and power that puppy up, I can afford Boom Balloon Flower, I can barely defend the magnet shrooms long enough to plant more attackers, and holy shit, we did it! That's how to end the stupid Dark Ages. Let's just be real, I am ashamed of the way I had to beat this world. I went in this challenge dreading this world, but being able to use sun producers made it the easiest one. There were a couple of fun levels and discoveries, so it's not a complete loss, but it's an undeniable stain on this challenge, and I'll personally never forgive myself. Until tomorrow. I'll probably forgive myself tomorrow. Next up, the Neon Mixtape Tour. I think this one could pose some genuine threats. Zombies that kill your plants in a single hit, fast-paced levels with little time to build up your sun? I'm ready to face some real heavy hitters. And joining us for the ride is the Apple Mortar. A strange one to add in the Neon Mixtape Tour of all places, but yet another plant that only costs 250 sun. And he can attack multiple lanes. I'm excited to get to use something other than Homing Thistle and Boom Balloon Flower for a change. He just shoots apples in its adjacent lanes, stalling zombies a tiny bit. It's nothing special, but an important part of our team nonetheless. But already losing day 4 because of them proves to me they aren't going to be used too often. They are incredibly weak, even their plant food does less damage than you expect. Coming back in with Caulipower was all it took to win, but the fact that we still lost the lanes it was meant to protect is very telling. I'm already ready to try our next plant. Apple Mortar is kind of pissing me off. Let's hope for some better luck with the Dandelion. It weirdly costs 275 sun, the only plant in the game with that price, but hey, still cheap. That means we can actually try it out without a problem in these stages. It can also attack zombies in its 3 adjacent lanes, but only sending out 1 bomb at a time. Apple Mortar sucks the hardest with clumps of zombies since it doesn't do splash damage, while Dandelion is the opposite. A single bucket head is much more deadly than a couple brown coats standing next to each other. It was worrying to try them out on an endangered plant level first, but clearly they are so much more capable than the Apple Mortar. Or maybe the Fat Beats did most of the work, who can say? Day 5 can say. Day 5 proved they're both dead to me! Even going in with Boom Balloon isn't enough. I've just added 2 dead weights to my team, what a freaking waste of time! Every time I bring them in from now on, it's basically like fulfilling a Make-A-Wish request. Surely, when we can plan our defenses, a whole group of them can handle it, right? This is just getting pathetic. Until I have a real reason to use them, I'm generally going to forget these losers even exist. Compare that to 5 Nightcaps who can solo the entire damn level. Now that's a plan I want on my team. I finally felt confident enough to try coconut cannons again, thanks to the Fat Beats. And even though I lost because of the insta-killer zombies, I was determined. I tried everything, maybes, Caulipower, no matter who I had to help, it was never enough. Even Boom Balloon Flower can't support the coconut cannon. I tried damn near everything. After a half an hour of tries, I could only barely win with 2 boom balloons and my full concentration. I bought in a single coconut cannon towards the end in sad, sad defeat. The theme of this world is just me crashing out, dude. Everything I try is failing. Melon Pult can't kill a bucket head? I can barely concentrate when I'm getting text every 3 seconds? Why does this always happen on Neon Mixtape Tour? Every time! I'll lose each lawnmower in a single wave with no sun left over. Maybe did great, used her plant food, the bee just disappeared for no reason. I'm being conspired against or something. On my next try with the maybes once more and a big Ultomato explosion, I finally pulled through. They were kinda perfect for barely being the level, I won't lie. You may be thinking, why not just use Boom Balloon Flower? It's the obvious choice. And I agree, but let me remind you the point of these videos is our ensemble, not a single showcase. I want to find cool strategies, but unfortunately the Neon Mixtape Tour has not allowed me to try much of anything. These are the most hectic levels we've covered yet, and I'm scrambling to stay afloat. The rounds go so quickly too, I can only afford 3 plants at most. Day 20 is a great example. I played this level for 20 minutes or so, always losing my lawnmowers and getting overwhelmed. The round I won was simple. Caulipower had some very lucky and clutch moments. I lost my lawnmowers when the lanes were packed with zombies, and maybe thankfully dealt with the middle lane before I lost again. A single lawnmower remained behind the stupid apple mortar of all things. My heart dropped on day 21. Not the flowers, dude. I have lost lawnmowers on every single level up to this point. I have no chance of winning right now. Trying Caulipower first doesn't work. Not a good sign. I thought Dandelion had a shot. It took out the first few zombies, but after that I have nothing. I hadn't tried Boom Balloon yet just because I was unsure if I could get 350 sun in time, but thank God she was the answer to my prayers. But this level isn't beaten just like that. Zombies are coming out fast, and if you take even a moment too long to place a balloon mine, it is game over. The rate at which sun falls is random, by the way, something that normally doesn't matter in a standard level, but prevents me from starting some rounds. I think I'm always going to get Caulipower out next. A Gargantuar is coming, and I don't think any of my plants can handle that in time. The round I won, I got Boom Balloon so early compared to the other rounds. That randomness is so frustrating sometimes. Anyways, from there, every single balloon mine placement is important. Managing to kill groups before they're kicked apart is huge. Caulipower's plant food launched a zombie back who was standing on the flowers. I was shooting bricks in that moment. When the Gargantuar came, it was a couple seconds away from ending the run. I brought in a Nightcap. I have no idea why, I was just freaking out. And just like before, the final Gargantuar was right on the edge as Caulipower worked its magic, beating the stage. I am thankful for those 2 plants and their broken abilities, and I have to imagine this is the only possible strategy we can use to beat levels like this. I can only afford 3 plants, dude! In hindsight, Tile Turnip would have been amazing for that level. I never needed the Nightcap I brought in. We're down to the final 5 levels. Day 23, Nightcap was doing its thing, we lost all our lawnmowers like always, and then I was a foolish fool and ruined everything! I was set to win and I chose failure instead. Day 24, we're planning our defenses. I haven't seen Citron in a while and I miss the guy. They literally destroy arcade cabinets in a single hit. They are the best. I was sad to lose the corner ones at the end, but all I had to do was dig one of them up to earn some extra cash, then hypnotize the remaining Gargantuars. On day 25, I went ahead and tried my Boom Balloon, Caulipower, Power Tile strategy. Seems like a real winner, although I should consider trying to get one more plant out to use instead of Caulipower, as the few zombies that flicked away didn't amount to much. I thought the endangered spore shrooms would do most of the work, but apparently that was not the case. It's so weird how the spore shrooms are pushed back randomly. How is it not consistent? Makes no sense. Anyways, Boom Balloon to the rescue once more. Although, note to self, don't place her in the middle lane or the Gargantuar insta-kills her. On the round I won, I almost saved the lane with the Nightcap, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. Still happy I can move on. I hadn't considered how dangerous the Boombox Zombie might be. When you can only afford a new plant every 30 seconds or so, there was no chance I can deal with one of these in a timely manner. What's funny is, Caulipower doesn't seem to be affected by it, so maybe I should rely on them in these stages. Day 29 is by far one of my favorite victories of this world. I didn't opt for a simple Boom Balloon or Caulipower cop-out to start. We had Homing Thistle and freaking Ultomato, who were struggling, obviously. I spent 300 sun just to blow up a tomato in the middle and clear the stage, which I'd say was worth it. We proceeded to lose every lawnmower other than the one Ultomato was defending, and I dug him up right before the Gargantuar could steal my free sun, planted maybe to deal with one of the bucket heads, then just sat and prayed everyone would be taken care of. The imps died, the Gargantuar was walking to its grave, but those bucket heads were staying strong. So I tried to time my Caulipower placement perfectly. I need to make sure it won't trigger too early and hit the wrong guy, while not waiting too late. It seemed like the latter was the case, and just as I was saying my final goodbyes to my brains, bam, perfect timing. I literally got so excited I started doing that dance the one guy does when he pours hot cheese over his burger. I literally stood up and did this dance in real life, that is not a joke. Finally, we've reached day 30. It technically has a bonus objective, not to have more than 15 plants. What a funny little joke. I planted 1 plant and it died within seconds. When I ended this level, I had 3 plants at max, and one of them was going to get killed by Gargantuar, so there were just 2 at the end. For the record, I brought in the meteor flower first. I haven't forgot about them. They're just actually so bad, it's kind of insane. Maybe one of the worst plants on the team, and I gave them a shot on day 30 just to prove that to be the case. Honestly, the end Mixtape tour went pretty great. I think there was a great mix of fun levels and challenging ones, and even though we never had any grand discoveries and the plants I added here were god-awful, I feel like this world showcased the difficulties of this challenge very well. Now we can jump right into Jurassic Marsh. I'm curious how it'll go with all these dinosaurs. In lanes with pterodactyls, I might just try to avoid planting anything there. I'll just let the zombies walk backwards forever. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Who's the next plant? In the style of the primal variants, all being upgrades of some classic plants, let's add a newer upgraded classic plant. Can you guess who it's gonna be? I'll give you a hint, I'm attracted to them. You're right, it could be like 100 plants, that's a terrible hint. Whatever, I'll just tell you, it's Mega Gatling Pea. A very cool new look for the Gatling Pea, coming in at a whopping 375 sun. As far as I know, he's the only plant in the game that will just randomly give itself plant food, going from 4 Ps to 5 Ps permanently. I may struggle to use this plant consistently, but I can't wait to see what he can do. Usually the first few days of each world are pretty easy, but that is just not the case so far. I am losing all my lawnmowers and I'm beating every way by just blowing up Ultomatos. And I guess I haven't lost yet, but there have been some very close calls. Only Boom Balloon Flower, as always, is able to keep things under control. Big shocker there. Wait a second, we have a really funny opportunity here. We literally have a plant that spawns meteors on dinosaurs. I know Meteor Flower freaking sucks butthole, but come on, I have to try it at least once. Wait, hold on. Did that dinosaur just run away when I used his plant food? Are you serious? I never knew that was something it could do. That is so awesome. For the first time since Frostbite Caves, Meteor Flower has a purpose again. That is so exciting. I'm thanking the lords I decided to try that. Day 7 is another Trample the Flower stage, and when I saw how close that flower line was, my soul literally floated up out of my body. But it's just a conveyor belt stage. I can live another day. I was genuinely mortified. Honestly, Apple Mortar is an okay partner for the Meteor Flower. Since it stuns the zombies a tiny bit, they stand on the lava tiles a bit longer, or clump together with the zombies behind them. Maybe I will try the Apple Mortar again through this world. Don't get your hopes up. If day 12 challenge was to plant at least 6 plants, then yeah, that would be a challenge. I cannot lose more plants than I can place. Actually one of the easiest levels so far. They focus on big zombies rather than large quantities of zombies, so Caulipower would hypnotize them before they could even spawn. For some reason I decided it was Dandelion's redemption arc time, on an endangered plant stage no less. They held strong until the end, and at that point I was fresh out of lawnmowers, plant food, and sun. So I dug up my last one to earn enough for a maybe, saving that lane. A Gargantuar tried to spawn in the middle but died to a lawnmower, which is incredible. One Ultomato handled the second lane, so I dug it up, and my maybe was done too, so I replaced it on the bottom row, somehow saving this horribly executed round. We're already halfway through the world, and I'd add our next plant, but there's only 3 left, 2 for Big Wave Beach and 1 for Modern Day. Can you guess from these silhouettes who's left? On day 19, they played the exact same prank on us twice. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, I hope you die! In Minecraft, I mean. Day 20 is our next sun production level. It's been a while. I guess we'll go up to our next 2 sun producers on the bench. But we've gotten up to the ones who are going to make this incredibly easy. Twin Sunflower and Primal Sunflower. So for this challenge, let's just see how few of these we can plant and still reach the goal. Do you think I could do it with just 1 of each? Let's find out. We've also started seeing the T-Rex on these stages now, which I really don't have a single counter for, other than Meteor Flower's plant food of course. On my first attempt, only having 1 sun producer each, we only made it to 1300 sun. Could I have stalled more? I'm not really sure. I never used plant food on them, so that might help. Obviously, Boom Balloon is my only option for controlling how long these zombies will stay alive. It has to be her. I decided to give it another go. 700 Sun is a long ways away, but it could happen, who knows? If you'll remember from earlier in this video, this stage, with this extra challenge I've given myself, makes for one of the most fun challenges of this video. It's a rare case where I can plant anything I want, but I have to keep these zombies alive and stalled as long as I can. Which was my entire goal the second round, using our only plant food to get more sun and killing zombies as late as it would allow. And here we are, a big gargantuar gunning towards that lawnmower. Sorry he spawned on the top, by the way, it's the worst spot for recording footage. Anyways, I was planting meteor flowers and caulipowers in front of it, attempting to stall for time, but I ran out of sun eventually. I could save sun by placing primal sunflowers instead, but my whole goal is to only plant one, even if it is for cannon fodder. And that stupid gargantuar died with us at 1900 sun! Can you believe it? I think we can actually pull this off, although I had a pretty flawless round there, I'm not gonna lie. But the rate at which you can earn sun can be random, so maybe we have a chance. On my next round, I made sure if zombies were dying, it was only at the last space on the lawn. Until the last wave, of course, then it doesn't really matter. This time I even dug up my extra Boom Balloon flowers for extra sun to stall the gargantuar. And still, it wasn't enough. Am I missing something? I'm one sun drop away from winning. And then it all clicked. One plant could stall that gargantuar and do such pitiful damage to it that he will surely never die. The key to this level is freaking apple mortar. It can be useful. It won't stun the gargantuar a lot, but it should be enough to hold out just a little longer to earn that extra drop of sun. And sure enough, he is plenty stalled by just this single apple mortar. I can't believe it, dude. Who would have thought this would have been his greatest purpose? Anyways, that was really fun. It felt like a puzzle, that's why it's so satisfying to have solved it. With so much sun to plant our defenses, I decided to bring in some classic plants I haven't used much. They held out for a while, but eventually my strategy started to crack. Zombies were eating all of my cannons, and a gargantuar had a clean shot to the end on the top. So I dug up what was left, placed a Caulipower that had a 1 in 3 chance of saving my life, and he chose not to. Cool, guess I'll do it all over again. All you have to do is make it to the last wave, and then who cares if they eat everything? My lawnmowers are there for a reason. Starting on day 25, we have the Ankylosaurus to deal with, who can really only be countered by maybe, I guess? Even if I wanted to, I'm not given enough time to get a maybe out though. I lost my first try very quickly, even after using Meteor Flower to scare away all the dinosaurs. This level is brutal, man. After the second wave, my lawnmowers are cleared out and Ankylosauruses are in every lane. Once that happens, I've been resorting to just spamming the Caulipower's plant food, which honestly is probably not the best solution. I thought an Ultomato might be able to defend the bottom. It could not. I guess the next obvious choice is Boom Balloon Flower, who helped me get the furthest yet. Obviously her plant food is great, and I just barely saved that bottom lane. There were so many close calls, just over and over zombies were past my lawn and died at the last possible moment. But then that final wave hits with so many big zombies, and I was all out of plant food, so that's the end of that. But clearly it could be possible with my best plant, so maybe we should just get 2 boom balloons and not worry about everyone else. Still, this level is so incredibly difficult. I'm either on the edge of death with every zombie or just straight up losing. Obviously, I'm not going to record every single loss I had, but it's been a good half an hour and I've yet to see the final wave for a second time. But finally, I managed to play my cards just right, build up a wall of balloon mines for the second to last wave, and save a plant food for an Ultomato, killing everything but a single pathetic little zombie. That was one of the hardest levels yet, and there's still 4 more levels in Jurassic Marsh. Combining Ankylosaurus with mold colonies is so evil. I have no choice but to bring in Boom Balloon Flower once again. This level was much easier though, probably because Ankylosaurus didn't spawn in every damn lane. On to the final level. I kinda wasn't even thinking to record, but I just fully relied on Boom Balloon Flower anyways. But even still, with just 1 Gargantuar at the end, I fumbled! I fumbled so hard! So I had to play through it all again. 4 freaking waves of unrelenting zombies and dinosaurs that the boom balloons can just keep up with. But now that I knew what I was doing, honestly this level isn't that bad. Without Boom Balloon, potentially impossible, but otherwise I survived just fine by letting the first few Gargantuars die to the lawnmowers, then on the last wave just let Caulipower take the wheel. We did it! Jurassic Marsh over. I went from being scared of the dinos, realizing I could eliminate them with Meteor Flower, then remembering Meteor Flower isn't very good, and just dealing with the dinosaurs anyways. Most of them are fairly manageable with this team. Alright, only 2 worlds left. So next is of course Big Wave Beach. Since we're not supposed to use lily pads, I was really hoping to have a plant who can go in water, and what luck, there is one. But it's so new that I don't own it in my own game. So for Big Wave Beach only, we'll be bringing in the newest plant on our team, the Sea Shooter. Now I don't know a damn thing about this plant. Maybe I should do some research.
Things are about to get wet and wild because the Sea Shooter just splashed down in PvZ2.
Okay, I've learned a lot. Things are about to get wild and wet and wild because the Sea Shooter just splashed down in PvZ2. Sea Shooter, more like, what did he say?
Sea Shooter,
more like OP Shooter.
Are they Chinese? Can't tell.
Anyways, we now have a 3-peater in the water. It costs the same, its shots are wider, its animations are worse, and when planted in water it does more damage. I'll be trying to use it as much as I can, especially in levels where it's only water. So it better be able to defend the entire lawn on its own. Since I'm trying to beat Big Wave Beach without lily pads, each time we start with some I can earn free sun. I've been experimenting a bit through the early stages, and Boom Balloon has still been my best option, since its mines can even be placed over water. Day 6 has been my first instance of facing some issues. It's leading me to believe a Sea Shooter isn't as much of an OP shooter as I was led to believe. Snorkel zombies can easily walk past them, and they shoot more like Rotobegas and 3-peaters, so even the imps that spawn can escape half the time. If a zombie gets in their face, all 3 shots will hit them, but the Snorkel zombies will eventually win that fight. I only won this stage because I just kept blowing up Ultomatos. Every time something went wrong, that was my one and only option. At the end, I had to dig each one up and replace them just to save the lanes without lawnmowers. So I need to find a solution to these Snorkel zombies fast. Day 7 is the first stage where eventually the entire lawn will be filled with water. So this is your time to shine, Sea Shooter. I want to see if you can do it. Snorkel zombies swam right up to the outer lawnmowers, which sucked, but was fine. The Sea Shooters defended themselves very well. As soon as any zombie got close, they were deleted. And I made a huge discovery. Adjacent Sea Shooters share plant food, and their plant food ability is crazy. That is very good to know and puts them in my good graces once more. I must have a faulty memory that homing thistle could be planted on the water. I really thought they could. Maybe just got changed at some point, or maybe Mandela has gotten to me. However, they are still really great for this world because they can target the Snorkel zombies for some reason. I'm not going to complain, that's a wonderful discovery. As far as I know, the only other plant I have that can be planted on water is Caulipower. Since they float in the air, they can kind of be planted anywhere. So I guess I have a plan B in water only levels. Still, after planning my defenses, it has become quite clear Sea Shooter genuinely is OP, just in groups. And since it costs 300 sun, it's going to be very rare that I can afford a group of these plants. But yes, they could absolutely defend an entire lawn on their own, no mistletoe required. I was super curious what would happen if I used towel turnips on Sea Shooters, but silly me for having curiosity, my bad. It's once again time to produce some sun, and we have just 2 more sun producers on the bench. Some of the greatest sun producers in the game, because they are absolutely free, are Solar Sage and Gold Bloom. I'm thinking they will trivialize a stage like this, but maybe I'm wrong. They have pretty long recharge time, so I might have to stall to earn 2,000 sun before the level ends. Regardless, I can't even plant my other sun producers on this stage because they'd eventually just die to the water anyways. Solar Sage is the only one I have that can go anywhere. As it turns out though, Solar Sage is much better than I remembered it being. By the end of the first wave, I'd earned more than enough sun. In fact, it can bring us all the way to the final wave on its own, but I don't think it could actually beat the level. I'd accept that as being the challenge I give myself here, but I honestly don't think it's possible. Solar Sage makes things way too easy, and now I'm curious. Is it possible to beat it with only Gold Bloom? It seems like that should be easy too. And with plant food, it is. At the end you have like 4 plant food saved up, so just refresh Gold Bloom and you can earn all the sun you'll ever need. So the plant food ruins things. Let's try one last challenge. You cannot use any plant food. Could it be done? Again, I thought it might be easy, but I lost just short of the goal. I tried stalling at the end but kind of fumbled and just died to the zombies. So what makes this challenging? Again, Gold Bloom takes forever to recharge, as it should. Around the second wave, the water covers the entire stage, and even though you have a Gold Bloom, you cannot plant it. Boom Balloon Flower is my best plant to sell out, but eventually she'll die to the water, and her mines disappear over time, so you even end up losing lawnmowers most of the time. But I got so close to beating it, I gave it another go. Considering I can earn over 1,000 sun before the second wave, I feel like there's a good chance I could stall long enough to succeed. It's not a very fun challenge if I'm being real. It's a lot of waiting around and then just losing at the very end of this level, and I'm stalling out for 5 to 6 minutes. To save lawnmowers, I started planting sea shooters to kill zombies, and doing this somehow ruined everything. By the end of the stage, I was still 2 gold blooms short. On my next try, I was so dang close. I did a terrible job stalling these last couple zombies, but I was only 10 seconds away from that final gold bloom. Finally, I had a round with just 1 lawnmower lost, so it's the only lane I focused on. We gotta kill the imp first, then just keep the zombie at bay for the entirety of Goldbloom's recharge time. Tomatoes are my cheapest options, but they can attack it sometimes. We need to focus on these slow plants like citron or melon pult, even digging them up to make sure I have enough sun to keep stalling this thing. And just like that, on the last tile of that lane, Goldbloom is here. We did it and we can move on. At least doing that made this stage difficult in some way. Using Goldbloom while making a level difficult is a pretty hard challenge in and of itself. Next up, defending potato mines. Wonderful. I was hoping Sea Shooter could start things out, but as soon as I saw the snorkel zombie, I knew there was no chance. I tried using homing thistle and then Sea Shooter, barely saving everyone with 2 plant foods, but the stupid Sea Shooter died. So that round is over. The obvious answer to my problems here is Boom Balloon as always, and I had to see. Can you place the balloon mines on the potato mines? No, you cannot. But yeah, once you get some balloon mines out, this is no longer a challenge. You do need a little extra help, which is where Sea Shooter came in. Every time I use his plant food, I'm worried my game is gonna crash. Listen to the horrible noises it makes. After dealing with that monotonous sun challenge we did, and having the octo zombies introduced here, I need some sort of celebration after that. So let's get our penultimate plant out here. A big wave beach mainstay with a design that is literally just a fruit with a face on it. Give it up for the banana launcher, who is yet another plant that costs 500 sun, meaning we will barely ever see the thing. But it'll be my personal goal to use it when I can through this world, starting with day 17. Thanks to sun from the lily pads, I could afford the banana launcher before I lost a lawnmower. This guy is very similar to mistletoe, except it can hurt a wider area of zombies in range, rather than freezing all zombies nearby. I think it's probably better because of that, but obviously there's trade-offs. Since its shot is powerful, it takes quite a while to recharge, and that's the problem with having it be our main attacker. Once the octo zombie covered it, I was kinda screwed. I uncovered it with Ultomato, but even still, I lost not that much later from just a tiny wave of zombies. Needless to say, this is actually a really easy level, but as soon as the octo zombies appear, I can't do a whole lot. So maybe in the future, I should save a banana launcher to kill them ASAP. We shall see. Day 19, same stuff. I'd use a banana and then 2 seconds later one of my plants would have a damn octopus on it. And then I'd have to waste another banana just to free it. I'm honestly surprised how well the level went otherwise, considering I spent at least 3 bananas just freeing one of my other plants. Day 20 is a big deal, our first stage with the Gargantuar and being covered entirely with water. So let's see how a squad of sea shooters can handle my biggest battle so far. And surprisingly, I didn't lose, but well, I probably deserve to lose. Basically, sea shooters can't do a damn thing against the octo zombies. Big shocker. There's more footage in this level of a team of octopi than there is a team of sea shooters. I couldn't save them no matter what I tried, and lost pretty much every lawnmower in one horrible sweep. I could barely afford a banana launcher to save one lane, only for the tide to kill it moments later. So the final wave consisted of a bucket head and 2 octo zombies, and by some miracle they were at the perfect angle to all die from one last plant-fooded sea shooter. Again, I don't think I deserve to win here. Remember the Gargantuar I mentioned? Yeah, that thing died from a lawnmower before I even noticed its existence. Day 21 is a rare conveyor belt stage that features one of our characters, and it is so easy you do not need anything else. It is homing thistle versus surfer zombies, and they just bombard you with plant food. I was spending them constantly and still ended the level with a leftover plant food. What a blast. I got so spooked by the introduction of fisherman zombies in day 22, they're not even the reason I lost. I was just a complete idiot with every plant purchase I made. Why am I even bringing in melon pults right now? I had high hopes for a maybe who can attack the snorkel zombies, but the second a fisherman appeared, that was the end of my hopes and dreams. I nearly pulled through regardless, but of course the octopus ruined everything as usual. Having a sea shooter get pulled forward by a fisherman zombie is a pretty funny experience. That thing stood its ground for quite a while. Then a big wave of zombies come out of nowhere, the perfect opportunity for Ultomato to do his thing, and it was very cathartic to blast this guy right in his face afterwards. Honestly, I can't tell if day 23 is going to be a good or bad time. We do get 3 free banana launchers. That's a 1500 sun value. But are the fishermen going to be able to kill them instantly? Well, here's my thought. I honestly have no idea what happens with Nightcap. Are they like Sundew Tangler and can just ignore it? Will they die in the water? It's a good experiment just to try, regardless of whether it works or not. Well, here's the moment of truth. Holy shit, it actually works! I can't believe it. In both of these videos I found a plant that just nullifies the stupid fishermen. And they can't get covered by octopi. This plant is insane! Looking at the rest of the stage, I have no clue if I'd been able to protect these bananas otherwise. There's just full rows of these fishermen and multiple gargantuars to go up against. And we handled everything. About halfway through, one of my bananas got octopused and it literally stayed covered the entire rest of the stage, but who cares? I feel like I'm on top of the world right now and nothing can stop me from beating Big Wave Beach. Here's the issue though, Nightcap is pretty broken for Big Wave Beach, but can't go on water. For a second I questioned it, but no, even that would be too OP for this plant. So on day 27, I have no choice but to go oops all sea shooters once more, potentially for the final time. But everything went to shit pretty quickly. I lost lawnmowers, a fisherman pulled one right up to its death, and it only got worse and worse until there was nothing left to be done. The entire first minute and a half of this stage is completely submerged in water, then there's a bit of a break, which makes my sea shooters weaker, and then the final wave is underwater again. So what do? Every round just gets ruined by the octo zombies or the fishermen, sometimes a combination of both. I think the clear answer I was missing was to bring in the only other plant who can go on water, Caulipower. I made it further than ever before with 3 plants still up and kicking. Once the water filled in, I used my last plant food on the 2 sea shooters next to each other, killing everyone but the currently invincible snorkel zombies, and there were a lot of them. So I dig something up, plant a sea shooter and let it kill that group, move to the next group and do it again, over and over. It was a little risky letting that Caulipower handle this bottom one, but it all worked out. Certainly wasn't a clean victory, but we can move on. That's all I'm worried about. Don't lose 5 plants? Pfft, what a dumb joke. Let me just clear all these lily pads. Oh, that is maybe the stupidest thing I've ever done. So unfortunately we can't just kill these lily pads, but that sort of ruins my whole game plan. I'm hoping they get covered by the octopus and I can just forget about them. I'm gonna try digging up as many as it lets me and then going all in on nightcaps. And solely thanks to these stupid lily pads, this level blows chunks, dude. It blows chunks, it sucks chunks, whatever verb you can think of, it does it in chunks. Either the fisherman zombie grabs a lily pad or a snorkel zombie walks up and eats it in front of you. It's the worst. Once you plant a nightcap for protection, basically anything can go behind it and it'll be fine, but I can't afford much else to place and I was just so set on nightcaps breezing through this level and was not expecting to get annoyed like this. One interesting thing about the lily pads here is I kinda had to find the right combination of 2 to leave behind. Which ones will I be able to protect all the way to the end? Turns out the bottom 2 rows are the solution. Only needed 3 nightcaps as well, and then Caulipower did the rest of the work. For some reason, fishermen don't spawn at the bottom, and the surfer got hypnotized at the perfect time to also get a snorkel zombie to stand up, also getting hypnotized. The amount of luck that took to happen is crazy, but we did it. I'm a little shocked that I pulled that off. Turns out this is the last sea shooter stage, as my other 2 guys drowned within seconds. But this was a pretty fun final showing, bombing the stage with plant foods and shotgunning that gargantuar at the end. And if you think we're ready to wrap up Big Wave Beach, which trust me, I want to, we have one final challenge, Day 30, featuring the fan favorite endangered guacodiles who will jump to their death if a zombie pokes them. My first game plan was obvious, get nightcaps in front of the fishermen before it's too late. But here's the dilemma. The fishermen are actually aiming behind nightcaps, and they can't pull them forward. But my good old buddy Guacodile doesn't apply to that rule, and kills himself anyways. Uh-oh! If that doesn't work, how the hell are we gonna beat these fishermen? I am barely surviving the first wave, since the dumb Guacodiles don't let me stall for sun for a second. So here's what I've been cooking so far. The recent MVP of all these stages, Caulipower, has to be the answer. It is the cheapest plant that can be pulled onto water and still survive. Even still, we need quite a bit of luck with them to hypnotize a zombie who can kill the fisherman before the fisherman kills you. I've had some very lucky rounds actually, but I'm still losing at the second of 4 waves because I don't have enough sun to plant all the Caulipowers we need. I played for a very long time. I've got tons of recordings of having okay rounds, but still have not seen past the second wave. It's just simply not gonna happen. I'm gonna go give up and cry in the corner for 30 hours straight. Hold on, my daily crying time can wait. I still have one more plant this could work with. The only reason I haven't been trying Boom Balloon Flower is I sort of just assumed it would die easily in the water and wouldn't deal enough damage to the fisherman, but it's certainly worth a shot. See, we can handle the waves of zombies with the balloon mines and a little help from Caulipower, and the fisherman can die one of 2 ways. Either 2 balloon mines or 1 mine and 1 plant-fooded crocodile, which also protects them from being grabbed. I made it pretty dang far this way, much farther than ever before, even being able to see their gargantuar on the 3rd wave. But then you see what's after that? Yeah, a whole line of fishermen is a bit above my pay grade. Most people would give up right then and there, but I'm not most people. A well-timed Doom Shroom from the Boom Balloon Flower would kill all 5 of them as long as I can hold out until then and give it to her at just the right timing. Theoretically, we could keep the round going, right? So I went through the whole stage once more, playing at the best of my abilities, protecting every crocodile in the face of danger, and died in this same spot over and over. Let me be clear, this was not a simple retry and do it right this time. This is at least an hour after my first time reaching this part of the stage. But I've learned a lot, like almost completely abandoning Caulipower and focusing on buying a second Boom Balloon Flower. But I made it back, timed my plant food just right, and it wasn't enough. I think I'm gonna need to use 2 Boom Balloon plant foods. So I'm sitting here getting frustrated and scared, and it's impossible once more. When I realized it would be dumb to use 2 plant foods instead of just 1, why not use Ultomato instead? And so here is my grand, unbeatable plan to take this stage down. As soon as we can afford a Boom Balloon Flower, we start stocking up in front of the crocodiles, as well as placing 2 in this bottom corner. The first big wave of zombies will all just barely get taken out before they ruin anything, and the fishermen will pop up and die instantly. After that, we have 2 boom balloons, stocking up once again and placing 2 balloons in that same corner. These buckheads kinda suck, but if you do everything right, again you will just barely get by. Then we have a new wave, including a fisherman to deal with at the top. The Octo Zombie and him are top priorities. After some surfers who need to die before their surfboards kill the Boom Balloon Flowers, then the Gargantuar spawns. I don't honestly have a great solution for him. I blew up an Ultomato and then some extra balloon mines did the trick. Then, as we mentioned, we need another Ultomato with plant food to wipe out the line of fishermen, which of course goes exactly as planned. And now, I am literally shaking as I play. I am so scared of what might be left. Surviving to the final wave, I got a 3rd Boom Balloon Flower out, and unfortunately I had to spend some plant food to save the crocodile from the fisherman on the top row. The Gargantuar was my top priority, and I spent this entire time blowing him up, and he still was on his way to kill me, but the crocodile got the last hit. He's down! And then I remembered there were still multiple rows of other zombies. And, well, yeah, I actually freaking lost. But hey, I'm a positive guy. Look on the bright side. I just proved this is totally possible. And now that I've gotten so close to victory, I'm finishing this thing for real. It's funny, the round I won, I actually did end up using 2 Doomshroom plant foods because I couldn't afford the Ultomato at the time. Those fishermen were real close to ending it all. But there we were at the end of the stage, but this time, I'd memorized the entire first half of the level so flawlessly I hadn't spent any other plant food. And with 1 Ultomato explosion, I had plenty of balloons to go around. I had another plant food just ready. But there it is, everyone. I beat day 30. And you know what I did when the screen showed up? Yep, same dance. That's basically my victory emote. If I can beat that stage, I can beat anything. There is a day 31 at Big Wave Beach, but it is nowhere as interesting or difficult as day 30, so let's keep it short. I can't choose my plants, but homing thistle is here. I gotta hold out until the final wave, when the water fills the screen and all my plants die. Then the lawnmowers finish the job. Big whoop, what a dud compared to the last one. Big Wave Beach took a while, and I am ready to move on to the final world, modern day. As always, my goal through modern day is to try to give every plant a chance to shine in some way if possible, with some definitely being easier than others. That includes our final plant, tied for the most expensive in the game. It is the one and only Winter-melon. Talk about saving the best for last, huh? I really haven't even used regular old melon pult much throughout this game, but Winter-melon is the exact same, with ice effects. Slowing down hordes of zombies while dealing a ton of damage to them is always a good time. So day 1 was melons alongside boom balloons to actually make the level possible. Day 2 was a good one for Maybe, who apparently can take out the torch zombies just before they get burned. I was pretty proud of the performance here. I tried so hard to make a Pirate Seas themed day 4. 3 Peters were okay, but I needed more, so it's time for some balloons once again. I could eventually get some coconut cannons out, even letting one defeat the Gargantuar just in time. The newspaper zombies can take 3 balloon mines, so getting out strawberries during that time wasn't exactly ideal. But with a bit more understanding of what to take out first, I managed to get 2 out by the end. And when this final Gargantuar walked up, they got double teamed by our OP plant foods. Day 6 is one of our last sun producing stages, so let's play Oops All Sun Producers. The whole bench is being brought out on this one, or at least as many as we can cram in here. If I'm being real, the only plants that actually matter are Sundew Tangler and Solar Sage, since none of my other bench plants can hurt the zombies. I can bring them in to stall and earn a little more sun, but they aren't even needed. And man, this stage is tougher than I was expecting. Of course there had to be stupid wizards and newspaper zombies. They take way too many Sundew Tanglers to beat, so they either have to die to the lawnmowers or a Solar Sage. And on the last wave, the dang wizards turned it into a sheep and lost me the round. The toughest part about this stage is when the importer places his tents, because the only thing that can destroy the tents are the lawnmowers. So either you have to hit them with the Solar Sage before they can place it, or just pray they only show up on lanes with the lawnmower still there. So I basically just did the same thing again and again and again, selling as many lanes with Sundews as I could, and finally on this random run I saved the majority of my lawnmowers all the way to the end. This level proves beating the game with only sun producers would be a very unfun challenge. Day 7 is filled with octo zombies, so my thought was to use Nightcap so we wouldn't have to deal with it. But you can't afford 5 Nightcaps before the level gets going. Trust me, I tried for like a half an hour. So we gotta start with Boom Balloon Flower instead and then get some Nightcaps going. Eventually a wave full of octo zombies and our Gargantuar come barging in, and I was very unprepared. Nightcap's plant food is pretty dang good, but apparently not good enough for a Gargantuar. Despite having 4 waves, there's really not that many zombies even. By the end, I could just afford my 5th Nightcap, but I suppose they were very important in killing the octo zombies, I won't deny it. Power Tiles on day 10 looks like it's the far future plant's time to shine. Unfortunately, however, I failed to notice there would be weasels, and while the giant Doomshroom can be an effective way to take all them out, it doesn't always work out so well. But I've already locked in the Citron, so we'll just have to make the best of it, won't we? Thank the Lord there aren't more weasels after the second wave. There's a bunch of Gargantuars and mechs, but that's what Citron is actually good at. Day 12 doesn't want us to loot 10 plants, which, just to remind you, I can't remember the last time I've had 10 plants, but since there's dinosaurs, this really feels like Meteor Flower Showcase moment. Unfortunately, there's chickens too, and miraculously the first group of them died by sheer luck, but my luck ran out only moments later. And there's dragon imps here too, who are immune to Meteor Flower. How rude! Again, I was really worried, but the level is extremely short with not much after the first hurdle. The chickens just don't show up anymore, and obviously Meteor Flower can't do it alone, but by no means was this as difficult as I was expecting it to be. I was hoping Apple Mortars or Dandelion could protect these endangered primal walnuts, but the imp cannons proved to be too difficult of a challenge for them. I decided instead I could probably afford a single banana launcher to take them out, and it really worked nicely, but the Gargantuar got all the way through at the end. My problem was I kept running out of plant food. If only there was a solution for that. Wait a minute! Cross-Tile Turnip's name off our showcase list because it really came in clutch on this stage. When you can only afford 2 plants, having both use their powers on the final wave is a necessity. Well done. Well, fine, maybe this is Apple Mortar and Dandelion shot in the spotlight. I had already written a prepared statement about how I couldn't get them to work at any level and screamed at them a bit more one final time, but no. I was shocked at how well they can take down the arcade cabinet pushers. Apple Mortar stuns the zombie behind it while Dandelion blows up the machine. They also work pretty good for the skull zombies since they can attack them from another lane. I strategically lost all my lawnmowers over the course of the level, including one to save my 2 new buddies from an angry newspaper zombie. The final push of this level was a sarcophagus zombie with graves spawning everywhere, but literally literally any of these rifts are just begging to get beat by Ultomato. Even the apple mortar helped slow them down. I am very happy I'm done trying to use these guys now. That was their level right there. Since day 20 is the only stage with gold tiles to help me earn sun, I decided I needed to showcase Mistletoe now. But all the gold tiles are up front. 95% of my plants would die in an instant up there. But of course, there's always an answer, and the answer is maybe. The bees helped so much, I can't even describe to you just how perfect it was to use maybe. It protected itself, it protected the neighboring lanes, and by the time anything dangerous spawned, I had a mistletoe at the ready. And newspaper zombies, balloon zombies, they all die from just a single hit. So one plant food later, using another to save myself from being eaten, and I'm at the final wave, which quickly dies, leaving just a newspaper zombie and a gargantuar. So maybe it gets dug up, we go for an all ice method, bringing in Winter-melon to keep that guy as slow as possible, and then we just wail on him as much as we can. It was really all just the perfect amount. He was not far from killing the Winter-melon when he died. Now that right there is how you make use of the actual most expensive plants in the game. Mega Gatling Pea is probably my least utilized plant in this video, to the point I forgot it existed for a bit there. If I'm being honest, since we can only afford a couple plants, it is just a more expensive Ultomato. I hate to say it, but it's true. On day 21 I brought it in just out of pity, and really the only possible cool thing I could do is activate his plant food as a football zombie charged at it. That'd be friggin' sweet. But I could sadly only ever get one out in this level. Every time I had enough sun, I needed to spend it on something else or I would have lost. I'm honestly still shocked I managed to get rid of these two all-stars in time. I had almost nothing at the end here, so I relied completely on Boom Balloon Flower. I had to dig up the bottom one before the surfer killed it, then finish off the other two lanes before the octo zombie could cover them up. There was an insane amount of close calls, which I guess made this a fun Mega Gatling Pea showcase, but I suppose it is fitting that he was underutilized in this level just as much as he was in the challenge as a whole. I switched over to my computer on day 23 so I could bring in the sea shooter once more. And I swear to God, I'm just randomly picking levels to showcase plants and they work out perfectly so dang often. Now at first, it didn't look great. Octo zombies throw their octopus before I can even see them, so halfway through the stage I'm forced to waste an Ultomato explosion. Not great. Instead, what if we plant this guy right in the middle? He somehow barely takes out the balloon zombie, which is crazy. Then just as the octo zombie appeared and I had a plant food ready, I decided to get one more sea shooter first. As the octopus landed on me, I perfectly placed my plant food, which kills everything on screen, but most importantly, the Octodad. Now, I had made it to the final wave before, and there's a cowardly Octogeddon zombie hidden behind one of the gargantuars, so everything just gets covered and I'm out of lawnmowers. But I'm a smart boy with smart ideas, and here is my smartest idea of all. Before that final wave, let the octopus cover my plants. Just let it happen, and lose all my lawnmowers in the process. It protects my sea shooters from being killed going into that final wave, and saves me a plant food. Then, once all the final zombies arrive, it's the good old classic Ultomato explosion, killing the Octobro, hurting the Gargantuars, and freeing my sea shrooms. That was so awesome, and these guys can obviously handle things from here. You guys can handle it, right? Those Gargantuars are... they're getting close. Okay, I don't think they're gonna handle it actually. Before the first one died, I dug it up, placed a coconut can to get the final hit in, then did the same to the other one just in time, and there you have it, a flawless victory. Genuinely though, that was one of my favorite puzzles I created for myself throughout this entire video. For some reason I got in my head that I hadn't used Strawburst yet, so that became my goal for the final 5 levels. Starting with day 24, I actually got one out, but well, it didn't do much. And then a football zombie killed it, so I wouldn't exactly call that a spotlight. Day 26 then, gotta be day 26. I actually got 2 out on this one, but yeah, Disco Mechs aren't a great match for this plan. Looks like it'll have to be day 28 then, our final sun producing stage. We can literally get out all the strawberries we want. Or are they even helpful? No, I did pretty horribly. But they got a lot more screen time here than ever before, and I'm just happy for the guy. Now, this is either the moment you've all been waiting for, or if you're like me, the level you've been dreading since the moment we started this challenge. It's day 30 of modern day. I've repressed these memories for months and they're all coming back to me now. I could just barely beat the stage with my bad plants, and that challenge was 10 times easier than this one. I'm not messing around. I know the only shot we have is Boom Balloon Flower and the cheapest attackers at my disposal. There's a minecart here, which is a great bonus for the plants we have. I just don't know if it'll be enough to turn the odds in my favor. So on our first zombie, I literally can't afford anything. Are you serious? At least I could try with my other challenge. Here I can't even get started. I had to try again. It can't be over that easily. This time I went for Ultomato. It doesn't always work, but if luck is on your side, you can get enough sun early to kill the first imp. Bam! That's what I'm talking about! I just beat a single zombie, let's go! But now what? I have no sun and the zombies are still coming! I tried to get a boom balloon out, but you need 3 mines to kill this newspaper zombie, and I just don't have time for that. But I had one last idea, one saving grace that just might work. People inform me if you cover up the flowers, they can't be trampled. Interesting idea, right? So which one of our plants can't be killed? The Nightcap. It's gotta work. Please let it work. Holy Lord, it works! Now all we gotta do is just survive this way. We can do this. We absolutely cannot do this. Even if I could get another Nightcap out in time, we need something in every lane and I just don't have the time or sun. I still have more ideas though. Caulipower actually gets us further. He can hypnotize a newspaper zombie, then use the plant food to swipe away the couple of all-stars running in. But that next wave, that's a pretty brutal one. My Ultomato idea wasn't going to cut it. I tried over and over, again and again, to see if it is at all possible to go further than this. I don't know why, it's not like it's suddenly become possible at any point, but I was just determined. There was a plant food you could maybe get to blow up Ultomato, but again, we wouldn't suddenly win just by pulling that off. I was so desperate I switched to my computer just to try Sea Shooter for corn's sake. I'm on the verge of giving up, which sucks so bad because day 30 was easily the coolest part of the last video, but what can we do? At this point, I was just messing around with the only plants I hadn't tried. Since Nightcap proved you can cover the flowers to protect them, I figured I'd give Tile Turnip a shot. It couldn't hurt. And big surprise, the tile doesn't count as covering the flowers. Before moving on to try another plant, I had a weird, dumb thought though. What if I planted the Tile Turnip as the zombie walked over it? Surely that's too stupid to work, right? You cannot make this stuff up, people! I am a god when it comes to working with these teams, and I've just found the game-breaking solution to our final challenge! Now, obviously that doesn't let me just immediately win, there's a lot more to do in this level, but because that first imp kills himself, not even wasting the lawnmower, I can generate free sun all the way until the newspaper zombie. So now I can get Boom Balloon Flower going, making it all the way to the first 2 Gargantuars, and this is where it all boils down to luck. Will Caulipower hypnotize what I need, or not? I even plant 2 at this point just to increase my odds. It took quite a while, but without further ado, here is the winning strategy to beat day 30 with the most expensive plants. We start out with our Tile Turnip of course, then let those zombies both die and build up sun. Place a Caulipower to hypnotize the newspaper zombie in time, who will block the incoming football zombie. Start placing balloon mines, then use plant food and Caulipower to get rid of every zombie on screen, including the next charging football zombie. By the time this wave gets to the flowers, I have a full line of balloons ready, and from this point on I have to rely entirely on luck. As this wave, including the first Gargantuar appear, I use plant food on Caulipower again, removing all the small zombies from the screen. Either Caulipower hypnotizes the Gargantuar or the round ends. Those are your only options. You can let one of the lawnmowers go at this point, but the one I triggered didn't end up helping. You can only trigger 1 lawnmower per game, by the way. Now, there's only 1 Gargantuar on screen, so he gets hypnotized. The second to last wave spawns that has a charging football zombie, but it bumps into the Gargantuar and dies instantly. You can't even see that happen here. But on a previous try, check out my frame-perfect Tile Turnip placement. And what's even crazier is a moment before, the imp flying through the air gets hypnotized, blocking the all-stars just in time. The odds of that have to be astronomical. Unfortunately, I lost this round because my Caulipower was just a little late, but imagine how hype of a final attempt that would have been. My actual final attempt was pretty dang boring in comparison. At the final wave, the first Gargantuar got hypnotized immediately, with the other smaller zombies following suit. I once again placed a Tile Turnip just in time to save it from the Gargantuar, and there it is. We've beaten day 30. I had debated placing Tile Turnip on the team in the first place. Who knew it would have been the key to beating the most difficult stage in this game? And yeah, day 31 exists, but to prove how baby easy it is, I beat the whole thing with Boom Balloon, Winter-melon, and my new life partner and intimate lover, Tile Turnip. So with that level done, that means, holy shit, I can't believe I'm saying this, you can beat Plants vs. Zombies 2 using only the most expensive plants in the game. As long as you forget about the Dark Ages and the Sun Requirement stages, but don't let that ruin the moment. Who even likes those levels? Not me! Scaredy Shroom was the clear MVP last time, but I wouldn't say that's the case today. I mean, Boom Balloon Flower is without a doubt the best plant here and crucial to our success, but so was Caulipower, Tile Turnip, Sea Shooter, and Nightcap. I guess it makes sense, expensive plants are supposed to be good, but they certainly come at a cost. I have love and respect for all of these plants now. I now consider them all my adopted children, and no one else is allowed to use them ever. They are mine, so back off! Thank you all for watching, and please let me know if you enjoyed this video. I am super proud of what I achieved today. I think this might be one of my favorite videos I've ever made. These challenges can be really fun, as long as you pick a good team, and I've gotten pretty lucky now, we're 2 for 2. I'm a little afraid to ruin the streak with a third entry, but if you have any good ideas, let me know. I thought the opposite of this challenge might work, only free plants, but there's not many outside of the mints, and I think someone already did a video beating the game with just the mints. I don't know, give me your suggestions. Thanks. Patreon members got to see this video way early, and I probably sent the first chunk of this video to my members to watch early too. So if you'd like the opportunity in the future, please consider becoming a member of the channel today. Thank you Patrick Bayershawn, Keep, Jep the Legend, Cheaper Ying, Test Monkey, Callum Ford, Perskill Banana, Checky, Timor, Kurunov, Aaron the Ghoul, Freakish Smile, Geminot, Lewis, Lavatane, Bright Streak, Dante, MGR Damadan, Einerjar, Jonathan Biscoff, F. Burke Ukar, Yasin, OK, Sleepy Boy 74, A-Train, Gull Guy, Green Man, Yeah, Mid Crazy, and Skibbity. The script of this video is freaking 35 pages long, dude. Have you ever written anything in your pathetic little life that's 35 pages long? I've never even read something that long until today. That might have been a tougher challenge than being the game. I don't want to see another word ever again. Again, I was really worried about the level. Again, I was really leveled. I had already written a prepared statement about how I couldn't get them to work in any level and screamed at them a bit more. I had already written a prepared statement about how I couldn't get